The story of Bitcoin is one of the biggest mysteries this world has ever seen. BTC was created in response to the financial crisis of 2008, and the creator or creators of it are still anonymous to this day. People have speculated on who it could be for years: the Cypherpunks, Hal Finney, Craig Wright, government agencies, and even your mom. The last one's a joke, but today we're not joking around because it's time for chicocrypto. Yeah, nearly 13 years ago, a programmer operating under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto deployed a piece of code that would change the world forever. January 3rd of 2009, Bitcoin was launched, and within the first block was a secret message sent from the creator. From the raw hex data, we can see Satoshi said, "The Times, 03 January 2009, Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks." This message came from a newspaper, The Times, which had the headline, "Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks." So Satoshi was quoting a British newspaper, which got many people to think he was British. But we have found out through research that this is most likely not the exact case. December of 2020, Ungeared and their researchers put together a research piece titled "The Strange Story of Nakamoto's Spelling Choices." In the research, they analyzed Satoshi's known writings, emails, posts, and the Bitcoin white paper. They applied it to a rigorous statistical analysis, and they found that he used majority American English over 52% of the time, British English about 35% of the time, and it was misspelled about 23% of the time. They also found that there were inconsistencies with his writing style throughout the days of the week. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays were dominated by American spelling. Thursdays were dominated by British spelling. And on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, they were split evenly between the two. But all days had a batch of misspellings. Now, Ungeared concluded through their analysis this: if his spelling was indeed part of his operational security, why would it be so inconsistent? Why would he not use a spell checker throughout? We believe there are several possible explanations for this. Firstly, it is possible that this was part of the plan all along, to throw us off his trail with irregular spelling. Another is that the Satoshi team consisted of multiple team members who were accustomed to different versions of the English language. Or perhaps Satoshi was multicultural, someone who has lived in different parts of the English-speaking world. So, was this a sole person? This was part of his plan, to speak in different English dialects to throw people off his trail. Or was this because he was multicultural, living in different parts of the world? Or was it because it was a team who had members of both American dialects and British dialects? Well, let's just look at the case that it was a sole person who was multicultural, living in different parts of the English-speaking world. Who could that be? Well, there is Craig Wright. He has claimed he is Satoshi for a long time. He is of Australian descent. He has lived in Britain and also America. And Craig just partially won a trial where he was being sued for Satoshi's fortune. Decrypt covered it in an article titled, "Craig Wright Avoids 170 billion Bitcoin Lawsuit, Must Pay 100 Million." The article states, Craig Wright, who claims he is Bitcoin's inventor, Satoshi Nakamoto, is off the hook for a multi-billion-dollar payment to the estate of computer scientist Dave Kleiman, which argued that the men created Bitcoin together. But Wright will still have to pay $100 million to the company he and Kleiman founded after a federal jury in Florida found the in-chain chief scientist liable for conversion. So Craig won, but he also lost. Does this prove anything? Well, the Decrypt article continued. Wright says he won't appeal. If true, this will bring to an end a long legal chapter that has failed to produce any clear answers as to the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto. Wright told reporters that the verdict meant he was Bitcoin's sole creator. The jury has obviously found that I am because there would have been no award otherwise. Yet neither Wright nor his defense were willing or able to provide private keys belonging to Nakamoto that could prove his claims. Yes, the Satoshi wallets and the private keys that hold the Bitcoin have at least over 1 million Bitcoin in it. The Bitcoin inside them have been yet to moved or touched. Craig could automatically prove he is the creator by moving some of the Bitcoin and signing the transaction, but this has yet to happen. If Craig wants to fully prove he is Satoshi, just do what everyone has been waiting for. Unlock the coins and sign the message.
Hey, Craig Wright's legal team, do you hear me? Yes, I still think your client is a scammer, so sue me.
Now, the reason I don't think it's a sole person who is alive is because how could someone resist that type of temptation? Billions upon billions of dollars at your disposal, and you wouldn't touch any of it? Greed is a powerful thing, and if Satoshi was just the sole person who is alive, I don't think they would be able to resist that temptation unless they already had billions upon billions.
I think possessions kind of weigh you down. They're kind of an attack vector. You know, people say, "Hey, billionaire, you got all this stuff." Like, well, now I don't have stuff. Now what are you gonna do?
So, is it a sole person who is dead? Well, the number one contender for this case is Hal Finney. Hal Finney was the first besides Satoshi to adopt Bitcoin. He stated on Twitter, January 11th, 2009, that he was running Bitcoin, just 8 days after it was launched by Satoshi. Then there is this. 3 months ago on the Bitcoin Reddit, there was this post titled, "Is Hal Finney Satoshi Nakamoto? Evidence thus far." Post stated, NSA and other very talented investigators, engineers have concluded that Satoshi Nakamoto hid his tracks too well. The only remaining way to know who created Bitcoin is stylometry, using writing style to compare two like-minded entities in hopes of discovering a better version of a person's fingerprint. The researcher found both Satoshi and Hal's writings have a double space after every sentence. Both are written according to AI in the same exact way. All of it, everything is written in the same tone, sentence structure, etc. The author then says, more evidence that might help. Dorian Nakamoto lived on the same street as Hal. He picked Dorian's last name in addition to a Japanese first name to look anonymous. Hal writes in British English quite often, so does Satoshi. Hal got immobile from Lou Gehrig's disease and stopped contributing to the internet at the exact time that Satoshi said goodbye. Hal died and we haven't seen Satoshi since. Hal had two IPs connected to his house through a Prism analysis. One was connected to an Internet Freedom Forum, and one posted on the same one only twice. So did Satoshi, with proof of this below. And then, Hal's IP and Satoshi's are possibly on the same street. Satoshi didn't use a VPN for a post request to a forum, neither did Hal, with the proof below. So, a sole person that is alive, very unlikely. A sole person that is no longer living, like Hal, I believe is more likely. But what about the possibility that this was conjured by a group of people? Going back to the daily spelling habits of Satoshi, we can see it was different for each day of the week. Was it a different person writing each day? Well, Hal Finney was actually part of a group called the Cypherpunks. From this 2018 Medium article by Petri B titled The Untold History of Bitcoin, enter the Cypherpunks, we can get early insights into this group. Under the section Early Attempts, we can see the first attempt at an anonymous transacting system was made by Dr. Adam back in 1997 when he created Hashcash. The second attempt came the next year in '98 from WeDie with his proposal B-Money. Then in 2004, Hal Finney created reusable proofs of works, which borrowed from the principles of Back's Hashcash. And in 2005, Nick Szabo published a proposal for BitGold, which built on the ideas developed by Hal Finney and various other projects. Now, going to the Bitcoin white paper, we can see many of these previous attempts referenced. Of course, proof of work is used, but then searching by Adam Back's Hashcash, it's in the paper, as well as in the references, and also WeDie's B-Money is there. Could it have been this group working together to finally complete what they had all been attempting to do? Could this have been their end game, putting all their powers together? Or could Bitcoin be created by the powers that be, like a government agency? Just a couple days ago, the current director of the CIA, William Burns, said the agency was deep into cryptocurrency, with a number of different projects focused on crypto. Could Bitcoin be their original and first one? Well, the CIA has insights into Bitcoin and Satoshi that no one else does. In June of 2018, Vice Motherboard author Daniel Oberhaus put out this article. The CIA can neither confirm nor deny it has documents on Satoshi Nakamoto. The article states, in 2016, Alexander Muse, a blogger who mostly writes about entrepreneurship, wrote a blog post that claimed the NSA had identified the real identity of Satoshi Nakamoto using stylometry, which uses a person's writing style as a unique fingerprint, and then searched emails collected under the PRISM surveillance program to identify the real Nakamoto. Muse said the identity was not shared with him by his source at the Department of Homeland Security. The NSA knows who Nakamoto is. Well, the author continues. As of February, Muse said he had submitted an FOIA request to the DHS to learn more about the case. While recently filing some unrelated FOIA requests of my own, I figured it couldn't hurt to ask some other three-letter agencies what they know about Nakamoto. My request with the FBI is still open. But a month after I filed my FOIA request with the CIA, I received a terse reply that informed me that the request has been rejected, with the agency stating that it can neither confirm nor deny the existence of the requested documents. This is known as a Glomar response, and the CIA is famous for wielding this turn of phrase to avoid releasing information about open investigations. In fact, the CIA's very first tweet paid homage to the agency's notorious opacity and wrote that we can neither confirm nor deny that this is our first tweet. So, if the government actually knows who Nakamoto is, it isn't too keen on sharing that information just yet. The Glomar response, they don't want to share, which means they know. The NSA knows, the CIA knows. Is that because it's them? Or do they have evidence it's Hal, it's Craig, it's the Cypherpunks, or maybe Elon Musk? Cheers, viewers. I'll see you next time.